In this video, I'll uncover how to take control of your prostate health naturally without the use of either drugs or surgery. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and everyone knows that as a man, when you age, your prostate health can take a dive. Now, this video not only pertains to men, but also women, simply because men do not take care of themselves. Yes, I work clinically, and I see so many men who have their significant others drag them into the clinic and say, he's got a problem and we need help with it. But the man will just, of course, let their health completely crash. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about how you can improve your prostate health naturally. Now, the prostate's a gland in the male reproductive system and is located just below the bladder. Now, because the prostate wraps around part of the urethra where the urine passes through, an enlarged prostate can cause a lot of issues with urination. Now, this is one of the significant things that shows up if you have a prostate issue. And when the prostate grows due to a multiplication in the prostate cells, it may push against the bladder and the urethra, making you feel like you need to urinate even though the bladder isn't full, and it prevents urine from flowing naturally. Now, the changes that occur with male sex hormones as part of the aging process plays a huge role in the enlargement of the prostate, because you're probably wondering, why does this happen, right? Well, males have a 50% chance of having what's known as BPH. It stands for benign prostatic hypertrophy by the age of 60 years of age, and a 90% chance by the age of 85 years old. So it's highly likely it's going to happen to you, for all the men out there. Now, androgens like testosterone affect prostate growth, and the prostate converts testosterone into something known as DHT, which is another powerful androgen, and DHT stimulates cell growth in the tissue that lines the prostate gland and prevents prostatic cell death. Now, the estrogen present in men may also play a role in prostate enlargement, and as men age, testosterone levels drop, the proportion of estrogen increases, and it can trigger prostate growth. And this is where the problem lies. Now, risk factors that can increase the risk of an enlarged prostate include these. Okay, so this is something you have to watch out for. And if you're suffering from these, you have to, of course, do the opposite of what causes that. Okay, so the first risk factor is going to be diabetes and anything that's spiking insulin. Okay, so if this is you, of course, you want to follow a sugar-free diet, a low-carb diet, and work on keeping your blood sugar and your insulin levels low. Obesity is another huge factor. The more fat cells you have on your body, the more likelihood that you're going to have decreased testosterone and increased estrogen. And another huge risk factor is, of course, a family history of this sort of thing. So we want to make sure that we're watching out for all of those. Now, let's take a look at the symptoms of having an enlarged prostate, because this is going to be some of the key factors that helps you understand if this is an issue for you. Now, one is going to be incomplete bladder emptying. Okay, so if you're going to the bathroom, feels like you can never empty your bladder all the way, then this could definitely be an enlarged prostate. But also combined with many of these other symptoms like nocturia, meaning that you're waking up 2 to 3 times per night and going to the bathroom. Incontinence is a big factor. Straining when trying to urinate, a weak urinary stream, a sudden urge to urinate, and also a slowed or delayed urinary stream, and then lastly, painful urination. Okay, so the question is, what do you do about this? Do you run to your doctor? Do you get on a bunch of medications? Like, what do you have to do about this? Well, the reality is there's a lot of things that you can do naturally right in your home, and we're going to look at some of the things you can do, from changing your diet to using supplementation to changing your lifestyle a bit. Okay. Now, first thing we want to do is make sure that we're avoiding anything that can boost up estrogen, okay? So what may boost estrogen in your body? So first of all, soy products can boost up estrogen. So if you're using a soy protein or eating soy-based foods, we want to remove soy from your diet. Now, the other thing that we want to do is make sure that we're not eating foods that are sprayed with chemicals. They can also mimic estrogen. And then eating from plastic containers can also boost estrogen. So plastic cups, plastic containers, you want to get rid of all of that, because increasing your estrogen levels, remember, can enlarge your prostate. Now, we also want to focus on using a certain type of food, a food that is high in what's called lycopenes. Now, lycopenes are naturally occurring pigments that are present in many fruits and vegetables. For example, a tomato is a very, very rich source of lycopenes, and they will help fight against an enlarged prostate. Now, some other fruits and vegetables that you can use that are going to be high in lycopenes are going to be foods like papaya, grapefruit, watermelon, carrots, red bell peppers, and apricots, and then also red cabbage. Remember, it's those fruits that have a really bright pigment. So red cabbage is also one of them. And of course, red cabbage is a great food for those who are insulin resistant or trying to lose weight. Very filling, very good, healthy, low carb food. Now, we also can look to supplements, as I mentioned. And here's a key here, okay? And I really want to push this because this is where a lot of people get lost in the weeds on this type of subject, is that if you have this type of thing going on, like an enlarged prostate, you think to yourself, well, I'll just get on a few supplements. Sure, the supplements are helpful, but you have to change your diet, okay? We have to follow a diet that's decreasing your blood sugar, decreasing inflammation, helping you lose weight. We have to do all the things. A supplement shouldn't be used like a medication, okay? And when I say that, essentially what I mean is, like, you shouldn't just avoid the entire poor lifestyle and then just take supplementation. You should focus on improving your lifestyle and then adding supplementation as the cherry on top, so to speak. So the top supplements that we can use in order to fight against this problem of having an enlarged prostate is going to be green tea. And this is because studies have shown that green tea is widely anti-inflammatory and it can reduce pressure on the urethra and therefore improve many of the symptoms that come with an enlarged prostate. So green tea can be taken in the form of supplementation, but also you can drink green tea, okay? That's also a great thing to do. Next is going to be zinc, okay? Now this one's actually kind of interesting because estrogen inhibits the uptake of zinc in the intestines. And as a person ages, estrogen levels increase, and then also your zinc is going to decrease. Now, taking zinc supplements or increasing the dietary intake of zinc can lower a person's risk of having a zinc deficiency, of course, but also it's going to decrease the production of DHT and inhibit this androgen from binding to the receptors, and that's going to reduce the symptoms of an enlarged prostate. So zinc supplementation is powerful here. Okay, let's go to some other really powerful ones. I'm going to focus on like the heavy hitters, okay? And I'll put resources in the description below to like some prostate support supplements, that kind of thing, if you're looking for further support. Now, saw palmetto is another really good supplement you can use. A systemic review of 18 randomized controlled trials involving over 3,000 men and another analysis that had 21 clinical trials involving 3,000 men support and found that saw palmetto works very well and supports the role for saw palmetto in improving your prostate health. Now, there's evidence that saw palmetto inhibits 5-alpha reductase, and this is the enzyme that reduces testosterone to the more potent androgen DHT, which we talked about, which actually enlarges your prostate. Now, other effects have been also proposed when it comes to saw palmetto. Basically, they found that saw palmetto prevents DHT from binding to androgen receptors, inhibiting the growth factors in the prostate, and also helps maintain healthy fluid balance in the prostate tissue. So saw palmetto is a huge supplement that can be used for this. Now, cranberry fruit is also something that's highly beneficial, believe it or not. And not necessarily going and eating a whole bunch of cranberries, but using it in supplement form, okay? Cranberry fruit has a history of use among Native Americans for kidney and urinary health. Now, modern research actually proves that it works, and it supports its traditional use. Now, the cranberry fruit is recognized as a rich source of oligosaccharides and phytochemicals, including proanthocyanidin and flavonols and triterpenoids. In a clinical study, supplementation with 250 or 500 milligrams of full-spectrum cranberry fruit powder resulted in clinically relevant dose-dependent improvements in the prostate in men older than 45 years of age, okay? So I want to point this out too, because this is something that kind of gets lost in translation. When we see something like the cranberry fruit works, right? And we see it in research, we have to understand that somebody just wasn't eating a whole bunch of cranberries. What they were using is a cranberry fruit powder, and they were using a full spectrum powder of about 500 milligrams per day, okay? So you can't just eat cranberries and get these results. You actually have to use a powder, and that's why like the supplementation is gonna be what will work versus just going to the store, buying cranberries and thinking that your prostate's gonna shrink, okay? So the next thing we can look to now is an Epsom salt bath. Basically, if you're not familiar with using an Epsom salt bath, you should get familiar with it because it can not only help you feel better, help you sleep better, make you feel more comfortable, stop your joints and muscles from aching. It also can improve your prostate health. Basically, what you're going to do is add a cup of Epsom salt into a bath of warm water, soak for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's been found to really be helpful at lowering the symptoms of the benign prostatic hypertrophy. And then I also want to talk about lifestyle in the way of exercise, okay? When you exercise, you decrease inflammation in the body, and it also is going to help you lose that fat, which is producing estrogen in your body, which is causing you to have an enlarged prostate. Now, being overweight is a risk factor for developing BPH, but research shows at the University of Harvard that just walking every day can reduce the risk of BPH by 25%. So it was also concluded in the same study that more physically active men were less likely to experience any type of problems associated with an enlarged prostate. So exercise is always going to improve your health. And so whenever we look, like I said, at solving these issues, we can't just look to the supplement, to the lifestyle piece. We have to do all of it together. And we layer on these different therapies, these different natural supplements, and all of a sudden, week after week, after implementing them, month after month, we start to get results. I want to make that very clear too. You can't just go exercise once. You can't just take the supplements for 2 days. You actually have to do this for a period of time if you want to get results. I see it very often where somebody will say, hey, there's a supplement that helps with this. I'll take it for a week. Oh, it didn't work. Or even 30 days, didn't work. Okay, well, you got to give it some time, and you also have to make sure that you're implementing all the other factors too. Don't just do supplements and continue on with your garbage diet, and don't, clean up your diet but not do supplements either. You should do both of them if you want to get results and get them fast. And this is how you naturally solve an enlarged prostate. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll really like this video over here.